Hello and welcome, my name is Savannah, and today we will be taking a look at the evolution and history of fairies throughout the Sims franchise. Very recently, fairies were added to The Sims 4, so I thought it would be fun to compare them throughout the 4 mainline Sims games. So without further ado, let's load into The Sims. The Sims 1 features no playable fairies. Your Sim cannot become a fairy, and there is no fairy life stage or a cult. There is, however, an NPC fairy in Magic Town, the sub-neighborhood that came with the Macon Magic expansion. Her name is Fairy Queen Mara, and she is one of the 3 NPC vendors in Magic Town. She has fairy wings and a whimsical appearance, but does not have any fairy powers or special animations. She is a fairy in name only. The Sims 2 also featured no playable fairies or even NPC fairies. However, in Veronaville, one of the 3 base game neighborhoods, there is a family of Sims who are meant to be fairies, the Summer Dream family. They are a family of 4 and are meant to be a reference to the play A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. All members of the family are named after characters from the play: Titania, Oberon, Puck, and Bottom. In the play, Titania and Oberon are queen and king of the fairies, and Puck is also a fairy. In The Sims 2, the 3 of them all wear a sort of whimsical face paint meant to give them a fairy-like appearance. They are still not technically fairies though, as like I said, fairies are not a life state or a cult in the game. The Sims 3 is where fairies finally became a playable occult. They were added in the Supernatural expansion. Sims can become fairies in several ways. They can be created in Create-a-Sim, or they can become a fairy when searching for fairies in the Arboretum and Moonlight Falls, the world that shipped with the Supernatural expansion. Or they can consume an elixir called the Bottled Blessing of the Fae. Fairies, of course, have wings, and there are only 6 wing presets. However, the color can be changed with the color wheel. There are also some cute fairy-themed clothes in Create-a-Sim. Fairies have a variety of special features and abilities. For one, young adult and older fairies age 5 times slower than normal Sims. They also move faster when flying around, gain charisma skill faster, and are better at gardening. They can also do special fairy tricks and prank people. They can shrink themselves to perform various special actions, such as playing in the train set or repairing broken objects with the fairy repair interaction. They have little fairy houses in which they can sleep and throw fairy parties, among many other things. Fairies have auras that they can emit and affect the moods of other Sims as well as themselves. And there are 3 possible auras: aura of soothing, aura of creativity, and aura of mind and body. Fairies get special moodlets depending on the moon phase. They will get an energized by the moonlight moodlet every night except on a new moon, during which they will get a starving for moonlight moodlet, which will decrease their mood. Fairies have a fairy magic meter that decreases as they use their magical powers. The meter refills over time on its own, but can be replenished faster by things such as going into their fairy house or riding a train set. They also have a hidden fairy magic skill that increases as they use their magic more. Leveling up their skill allows for more magical abilities to be unlocked, such as the aforementioned fairy repair interaction, the ability to grant another non-fairy Sim the temporary ability to fly like a fairy, and the ability to make plants grow to their next stage instantly. Baby fairies do not have wings, but they do have a sparkle around them that that will show what color their wings will be. When they age up to toddlers, they will get their wings and will be able to hover and float. Finally, fairies can become normal Sims by drinking the potent cure elixir or by following the Forsake the Fae quest if requested by a romantic partner. A small fun fact about Moonlight Falls: Titania and Oberon's summer dream appear as townies and are actually fairies. Finally, we have The Sims 4, in which fairies were very recently added, and by recently I mean literally yesterday, in the Enchanted by Nature expansion. Like in The Sims 3, fairies can be made in Create-a-Sim, as well as in-game. Fairies have a vast array of wing presets, special skin tones, ears, teeth, etc., and lots of fairy-themed clothing. They can also have a regular human form and a unique fairy form. Sims can become a fairy in-game by going on a short quest. They have to acquire a fairy seedling, which they can do by asking a fairy for one, finding one, getting it as a quest reward, or just buying one. They must plant it to summon Mother Nature, who will give them a potion that will turn them into a fairy if they swim in the enchanting springs. If a fairy wants to become human again, the process is basically the same. Fairies, of course, have a myriad of special fairy abilities. They can, of course, fly and also teleport. They can also enchant plants and gnomes. Like most occults in The Sims 4, they have a skill tree. They can gain points by leveling up their fairy experience by using their magical abilities. These points can be put towards gaining new fairy abilities. Some of these abilities include manipulating other Sims' emotions, changing a Sim's luck, making objects clean or dirty, or breaking or fixing objects, aging up Sims, and turning other Sims into fairies. Fairies have a tiny form in which they can perform a bunch of unique interactions. They can play in the sink or fridge, play around in their fairy house, sleep in or on tiny objects like dollhouses or pianos, cleanse themselves in nature, and a lot more. Fairies also have fairy dust that they receive in daily rations from the Mossvale Fairy Hub. They can give this fairy dust to non-fairy Sims to enchant plants or bring gnomes to life. Fairy dust can also be acquired by shaking a fairy house, and sometimes random fairies will drop fairy dust. Fairy Sims have different needs from human Sims. They have no hunger or bladder need. Instead, they have a large emotional force need. To fill this need, they must feed off the energy of other Sims by absorbing emotions from Sims or consuming bottled emotions. Or they can recharge in a fairy house. If their emotional force depletes, they can die of emotional starvation. They can also die of an emotional overload if they absorb too many strong emotions from Sims. This is, however, basically the same as the usual emotional deaths from the base game. Like in The Sims 3, fairies are affected by the moon phase. However, it is much more complex, and the effects vary based on the specific phase. Fairies cannot use fairy powers until they become teens. Sims with 2 fairy parents will have the high fae lineage trait, which gives them a boost in fairy experience gain. Fairy babies, infants, toddlers, and children have a slower decrease in their hunger and bladder needs than human Sims. Infants and babies can be bottle-fed emotion potions, and children and toddlers gain imagination skill quicker than human Sims. Some of the previously mentioned fairies from previous Sims games appear in Innisgreen, the world that came with the pack. Titania and Oberon make an appearance. However, as The Sims 4 is on a different timeline from The Sims 1 through 3, rather than Puck and Bottom, they have a daughter named Mara, who is likely a child version of Fairy Queen Mara from Magic Town. So that is an overview of fairies throughout the Sims franchise. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below if you would like me to make videos like this on other occults. Just so you know, I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch, so if you would like to follow me on there, link is in the description down below. Also, I have a stream archive channel if you can't catch those streams live. That will also be linked down below. Anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you have a fantabulous rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye!